check 1 2 1 2. Hey, shalom. Yahweh Shemi Yahweh Shah Baraka Thumb to all the brothers. Yahweh Shemala Thumb by Shemi Yahweh Shah to all the sisters. This is Isupk Durham, North Carolina. Sabbath service. Preaching officer Mahaya with me as well as preaching officer Yanazar. All right. You understand? So we're going to get right into it. Bro, if you could blow the horn to commence the Sabbath service. So Amadium, which means to stand. Wapan Yakwadam, which means rise in the face of east. Start off with the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew.
Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shemka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'ah, Batazayaka, Haya, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathan Lanawa, Lakam, Cow, Yawum, Wasalak Nawa, Kabawath Nawa, Kasalak Nawa, Kabawath Yanawa, Wala'ah, Tabiaya Nawa, Banasaya 1, a ball, Hawashaya Nawa, Mayan, Rad, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwith, Waha'ala, Wahatha Parith, Iwalumium,
Aman. In the English, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be.
Prayer for the Hakak, the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Baba Kashah, Nathan Lanawa, Hakak, La Para'ah, Kau Maka'Allah, Wakau Madawa, Hakak, La Tahar, Ha, Matazarayim, Hakak, La Hakwiyam, Hamathium, Hakak, Al Rarakawath, Hatama La Garashan, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Wada Aman.
In the English, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please give us the power to heal all manner of sickness and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the lepers, the power to raise the dead, the power against unclean spirits, to cast them out in the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you. So be it.
The prayer for the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatha Yahweh. Why Yahweh Shai. Why Mayaka Allah. Why Alahayam. Matazaba Ya'ah. Alawap Yahana. Ha'alawapium. Hasaranyam. Hakwatazayanyam. Hakoyayoyum. Waha Gwathium. Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shai. The Wada Aman.
In the English, bless you, Yahweh, and Yahweh Shai, and Michael, and the angels, commanding General Yohanan, the generals, the captains, the officers, the troopers, and the sisters. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it.
The 121st Psalm in the Hebrew. Asha'ah. Ayanya, Ahaharium, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Wa'arataza, Al-Yathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Al-Yanawam, Shamarka, Hanala'ah, Yanawam.
Yanawam.
Wala
Wala
Yayashan.
Yayashan.
Shawamor.
Shawamar.
Yasha Allah.
Yasha'Allah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tazalka.
Zalka.
Al-Yad.
Al-Yad.
Yamyaka.
Yamyaka.
Yawamam.
Yawamam.
Hashamash.
Hashamash.
La'a. Yakaka.
Yakaka.
Wayarak.
Wayarak.
Balayallah.
Walayallah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamarka.
Yashamarka.
Makal Rai.
Karai.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Adna Pashka.
Adnapashka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamar.
Yashamar.
Tazaatka.
Taza'aka.
Waba Wa'adka.
Wa'aka.
Mayatha.
Mayatha.
Wa'aid Iwalum.
Wa'aid Awalam. In English, I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
From which cometh my help?
From which cometh my help?
My help cometh from the Lord,
My help cometh from the Lord,
which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee
He that keepeth thee
will not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth
he
Israel
that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy shade
The Lord is thy shade
upon thy right hand.
upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee from all
The
evil.
Lord shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy coming out
The Lord shall preserve thy coming out
and thy going in.
and thy going in.
So like it, the Lord shall preserve thy going out
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in
and thy coming in
from this time forth
from this time forth
and even forevermore.
and even forevermore.
83rd Psalm in the Hebrew. Alahayim.
Alahayim.
Al-Damayalaka.
Al-Damayalaka.
Al-Fakarash.
Al-Takarash.
Wa Al-Fashakwat.
Al-Dashakwat.
Al.
Al-Kayahana.
Kayahana. Awayabyaka.
Awayabyaka.
Yahamam.
Yahaman.
Yawan.
Yawan.
Ra'ash.
Ra'ash.
Al-Imaka.
Al-Imaka.
Yara-Im. Salakia. Right. Ya'ira Yamwa.
Ya'ira Yamwa.
Sawada.
Sawada.
Wayatha.
Wayatha.
Ya'itazawa.
Ya'itazawa.
Al-Tazapawanyaka.
Al-Tazapawanyaka.
Amorwa.
Amarwa.
Lakawa.
Lakawa.
Wanakakidam.
Wanakakidam.
Magoya.
Magoya.
Wala Yasakar. Wala Yasakar.
Yazakar.
Sham Yasha'ala.
Sham Yasha'ala.
Iwada.
Iwada.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Now Itazawa.
Nawaitazawa.
Laba.
Laba.
Yakadwa.
Yakadwa.
Al Yaka.
Al-Yaka.
Barayaf.
Barayaf.
Yakarathwa.
Yakarathwa.
Aholia.
Aholia.
Adawam.
Alawam.
Wa Yashamai.
Wayashamai.
Alayam.
Alayam.
Mawa'aba.
Mawa'aba.
Wahagariam.
Wahagariam.
Gabal.
Gabal.
Wa Amawan.
Wayamawan.
Wa Amalak.
Waymalak.
Palashaf.
Palashah.
I'm Yeshabia.
I'm Yeshabia.
Tazawar.
Tazawar.
Gam Ashawar.
Gam Ashawar.
Nalawa.
Nalawa.
Imam.
Imam.
Hayawa.
Hayawa.
Zarawai.
Zarawai.
Labanyalawat.
Labanyalawat.
Salah.
Salah.
Aishalaham.
Aishalaham.
Kamadian.
Kamadian.
Kasaya.
Kasaya.
Sara'ah.
Sara'ah.
Kayabian.
Kayapyan.
Manakal.
Wanakal.
Kwai Yashwan.
Kwayashwan.
Nashamadwa.
Nashamadwa.
Ba'ayan.
Ba'ayan.
Da'ara.
Da'ara.
Hayawa.
Hayawa.
Daman.
Daman.
La'adama.
La'adama.
Shayatamwa.
Shayatamwa.
Nada.
Nada.
Yabmawa.
Yabmawa.
Ka'irab.
Ka'arab.
Wakazaba.
Kazaba.
Wakazabak.
Kazabak.
Wakatazal.
Katazol.
Mana'ai.
Manai.
Kal Nasaya Kamwa.
Kal Nasai Kamwa.
Ashar.
Ashar.
Amarwa.
Amarwa.
Nayarasha.
Nayarashah.
Lanawa.
Lanawa.
Af. Na'awaf.
Na'awaf.
Alahayam.
Alahayam.
Alahaya.
Alahaya.
Shayatamwa.
Shayatamwa.
Kagogala.
Kagogala.
Kakwash.
Kakwash.
Lapanya Raraka.
Lapanya Raraka.
Ka'ash.
Ka'ash.
Tabia Ira.
Tabayaira.
Ya'ira.
Ya'ira.
Wakalahaba.
Wakalahabab.
Talahat.
Salahat.
Harayam.
Harayam.
Khan.
Khan.
Tharadapma.
Saradapma.
Basa Irika.
Basa Irika.
Wabasa.
Wabasa.
Wapafka.
Wapapka.
Tabahalam.
Tabahalam.
Mala'a.
Mala'a.
Panyaham.
Panyaham.
Kwalawan.
Kwalawan.
Wayabakwashwa.
Wayabakwash.
Shimka.
Shimka.
Yahawa.
Hawa.
Yabashwa.
Yabashwa.
Wayabaholwa.
Wayabahol.
Idya I.
Adyai.
Wayakaparwa.
Wayakaparwa.
Wayabadwa.
Wayabadwa.
Wayadayawa.
Wayadayawa.
Kaya Atha.
Kayatha.
Shimka.
Shimka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Labadka.
Labadka.
Al-Yawan.
Al-Yawan.
Al-Kal Ha'aratazar.
Al-Kaharatazah. In the English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy peace.
And be not still,
Be not still.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo,
For lo,
thine enemies make a tumult,
thine enemies make a tumult,
and they that hate thee
and they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel
They have taken crafty counsel
against thy people
against thy people
and consulted against
and consulted against
thy hidden ones.
thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come
come
and let us cut them off
and let us cut them off
from being a nation,
from being a nation,
that the name of Israel
that the name of Israel
may be no more
may
remembrance.
be no more in remembrance.
For they have consulted together
But they have consulted together
with one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against
They
thee.
are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of
The
Edom
tabernacles of Edom,
and the
the
Ishmaelites
Ishmaelites,
of Moab
Moab,
and the
and the
Hagarenes,
Hagarenes,
Gabal
Baal,
and Ammon
and Ammon,
and Amalek,
and Amalek,
the
the
Philistines,
Philistines,
with the inhabitants of
the
Tyre.
inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur
Assur
also is joined with
is
them.
joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah,
Salah,
do unto them
do unto them
as unto the
as
Midianites,
unto the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of
at
Kison,
the brook of Kison,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles
Make their nobles
like Oreb
like Oreb
and like Zeeb.
like Zeeb.
Yea,
Yea,
as Slakim. All their princes,
all their princes,
as Zabah
as the Baal,
and as
and
Almunah,
as Almunah,
who said,
who said,
Let us take to
let us
ourselves
take to ourselves
the houses of Yahweh in possession.
the houses of Yahweh into possession.
Oh, my power,
Oh, my power,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as the stumble before the wind,
as the stubble before their wind,
as the fire burneth a wood,
as the fire burneth a wood,
and as the flame
and as the flames
setteth the mountains on
set
fire.
the mountains on fire.
So persecute them
So persecute them
with thy
with
tempest,
thy tempest,
and make them afraid
make them afraid
with thy storm.
with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
Fill their faces with shame,
that they may seek thy
that
name.
they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh,
Oh, Yahweh,
let them be
let
confounded
them be confounded
and troubled forever.
and troubled forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to shame
let them be put to shame
and perish,
and perish,
that men may know
that men may know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name alone
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
Yahweh,
art the most high
art the most high
over all the earth.
over all the earth. Sorry.
All right, Ishad, please be seated. Right, so we're gonna pick, you know what I'm saying, pick back up right where we left off at, right, which is Genesis, the 13th chapter, in verse 19, right? So, you know what I'm saying, for those if you want to tag along, all you gotta do is go to blueletterbible.org. You understand? blueletterbible.org. Type in Genesis at the top. Thirteenth chapter. Go down to verse 19. And press tools on the side, and it'll pull up the Assyrian Hebrew.
Verse 19,
Mm-hmm.
13 and 19. I only see 18.
Oh, 13 and 9. I'm sorry.
So I can find it.
Yeah, Genesis chapter 13 and verse 9. Salakia. Mm-hmm. Right, because we right where they was, you know,
You can just separate.
had the little issue. They're separate right now. Mm-hmm. Right. So whenever you're ready, I was read from the top.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 13 and verse 9 in the Hebrew. Hala'ah, Kal, Ha'aratazah, Lapanyaka, Haparad, Na'ah, Ma'alia, Hasham Ma'ala, Wa'a, Yamana, Wa'am, Hayamayan, Wa'asham Ma'ayala. Verse 10. Wayasha'a, Lawat, Ath, Ayanaya wa wayara af cow cacao haya radun kaya kala mashakwa la panya wakaf Yahawa af Saddam wa af Imara Kagun Yahawa Ka Arataza Matazarium Ba'aka Tazair. Verse 11. Waya Bakar Lawa Lawat Af Kal Kakar Hayaradun Wayasai Lawat Makwadum Wayaparadwa Ayash Ma'al Akiawa. Verse 12. Abram Yeshab Ba'arataza Kanain Walawat Yeshab by Iria Hakakar Waya Ahol Aid Saddam. Verse 13. Wa Anashia Saddam Ayam Waka Ta'ayam La Yahweh Ma'ad. Verse 14. Wa Yahweh Amar Al Abram Akarya Haparad Lawat Ma'aimawa Sha'ah Na'a Ayanayaka Wara'ah Mun Hamakwawum Ashar Afa Shum Tazapana Wana Gaba Wakwadam Wakwadama Salaki Wakwadama Wayama. The last one on 16.
15.
Come on, sir. Verse 15. Kaya Ath Kal Ha'aratazar Ashar Atha Ra'ah Laka Athanana Wala Zara'aika Aid Iwalam. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 13 and verse 9 in English. Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if thou depart to the right, then I'll go to the left. Then I will go to the left. So like this is when Abraham and Lot, his nephew, split because they had their own property and their own cattle, and their servants began to quarrel with one another. So these two righteous brothers said, hey, look, we all both have enough of our own, so you go one way and I'll go the other before there's any strife between us. So that's righteousness. You understand? These are righteous brothers, and these are the examples we draw from. Verse 10. And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest unto Zoar. Verse 11. What this is telling you here is that the land of Egypt one time was not a desert. It was a plush land. Because remember, when we had a famine in our land, we went to Egypt to get corn. So Egypt was at one time, it was not all desert. That's something that you can learn right there. Okay. In verse 11, then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves, the one from the other. Verse 12, Abram dwelled in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelled in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. 13, but the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. Now, I hope you got that one. Verse 14, and the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes and look toward the place where thou art northward and southward and eastward and westward. Verse 15, for all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 13 and verse 16 in Hebrew. Washamathia, Ath, Zaraika, Ka'ipar, Ha'aratazah, Ashur, Yawakal, Ayash, Wama, Nawath, Ath, Ipar, Ha'aratazar, Gum, Zaraika, Yamana. Verse 17. Yeah, you could turn my volume down just a taste. Right? Okay. Quawum, Hafa, Halaka, Ba'arataza, La Araka, Wala Rathaba, Kaya, Laka, Athanuna. Verse 18. Waya Ahol, Abram, Waya Ba'a, Waya Shab, Ba'alalunya, Mama Ra'a, Ashar, Bakabara 1, Waya Bun, Sham, Mazabak, La Yahweh. Let me go to the next chapter. And this is the book of Genesis chapter 14 and verse 1 in the Hebrew. Wayahaya, Bayamya, Amarapol, Malak, Shana'ar, Arayawaka, Malak, Alasar, Karara La'aimar, Malak, Ayalum, Watha the Ayala, Malak, Gawayum. Verse 2, Aishawa, Malakma, Ath, Barai, Malak, Saddam, Wa'ath, Barashai, Malak, Imara, Shana'ab, Malak, Adamah, Washama Abar, Malak, Tazabayayum, Wamalak, Balai, Haya'a, Taza'ar. Verse 3, Kal, Allah, Habari, no, Salakia, Kabarwa, Al, Imak, Hashadium, Hawa'a, Yum, Hamalak. Verse 4, this will be the last. Shathium, Ishar, Shana, Ibadwa, Ath, Kadarala, Aimar, Washalash, Ishara, Shana, Maradawa. This is the book of Genesis chapter 13 and verse 16 in English. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that a man can number them, Salaki, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Verse 17, arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto thee. Verse 18, and Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. This is the book of Genesis chapter 14 and verse 1 in English. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Chedor Laomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations. Verse 2, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and were Bershah, king of Gomorrah, Shenab, king of Admah, and Shemeber, king of Zeboaim, and king of Bela, or Bela, which is Zoar. Verse 3, all these were joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is the salt sea. Verse 4, 12 years they served Chedor Laomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 14 and verse 5 in Hebrew. Waba Arabai, Ishara, Shana, Ba'a, Kada Rala Aimar, Wa Hamalakium, Ashar, Athwa, Wayakawa, Ath, Rapa Ayam, Ba'aishath, Tharath, Quarunium, Wa'ath, Hazawa Zayam, Bahum, Wa'ath, Ha'ayum. Verse 16, Wa'ath, Hakaria, Baha Rarum, Sha'ayar, Aid, Ayol, Pa'arum, Pa'arun, Ashar, Al, Hamad Dabar. Verse 7, Wayashabwa, Wayaba'awa, Al, Ayun, Mashapat, Hawa'a, Kodash, Wayakawa, Athkal Shada Ha'imalakia Wagum Ath Ha'amaria Hayashab Bat Kaza Tazun Thamar. Verse 8. Wayataza'a Malak Sodom Wamalak Imara Wamalak Adamah Wamalak Tazabayayum Wamalak Balai Hawa'a Taza'ar Waya Irakwa Athum Malakma Ba'imar Salakia Ba'imak Hashadium. Verse 9. Ath Kada Rala Imar Malak Ayalum Wafa the Isla Malak Gawayum wa Mar Rapal wa Amarapal Malak Shana'ar wa Riyawaka Malak Alasar Arabai Malakium Ath Hakamasha. Verse 10. Wa'aimak Hashadium Ba'arath Kamar Waya Nasawa Malak Sadam Wa'aimara Waya Palwa Shema Waha Nasya Ariam Wana Hawana Sha'ariam Hara Nasawa. 11 should be the last one, right? Waya Kwakwa Athkal Rakash Sadam Wa Aimara Wa Athkal Akalam Wayalakwa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Okay. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 14, and verse 5 in the English. And in the 14th year of Chedor Laamor, and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims in Ashtaroth, Carmaim, and the Zuzims in Ham, and the Emims in Shaveth Kiriathaim. Verse 6. And the Horites in their Mount Seir unto El Paran, which is by the wilderness. This sounds like World War I. They going at it, man.
Sounds like about each side got like 4 or 5 kings.
Yeah, man, they throwing down, man. Like somebody's going to be the emperor of the whole thing. Verse 7. No, verse 6. No, verse 7. And they returned and came to En Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that dwelt in Hazazon Tamar. I just want to clear something up real quick because a brother brought this out the other day. He asked Jerome Hyman about who this Amalekite is, because the Edomites are not on the earth. this is the man that Amalekite was named after. These are not the Amalekites as that we know today, because of course Edom is not born yet. And a lot of the people in the Bible, you'll see their names more than once because they were named after people before them. So that's the situation here with the Amalekites. General Muhammad just broke that down the other day. So, verse 8. And there went out the king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah and the king of Admah and the king of Zeboim and the king of Bela, the same as Zoar, and they joined battle with them in the vale of Siddim. I think the vale is like a big castle or something, or a big fortification is a vale. Verse 9, with Chedor Laomer, the king of Elam, with Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings with 5. So what is that? It's 4 kings against 5 kings. I believe that's what that means.
Bed of a brook or a river which can be filled quickly by rain.
Oh, okay. Into the valley of death, huh? Okay. That's a veil? The water, sir.
It's not a valley. It's a low lying hill that stretch like that.
Right before you get to the mountains.
Yeah, that slope part. Yeah. Between 2 mountains, that slope, but it ain't big enough for a valley.
Right. Because when I be watching all those old movies, right, like they call it veil, and it's usually like the veil usually has like a fortification where you can fight from.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on. Verse 10. So in verse 19, I think it's saying that it's 4 kings against 5 kings.
Mm-hmm.
And the vale of Siddim was full of slime pits. And the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there. And they that remained fled to the mountain. Verse 11. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, all their victuals, and went their way. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 14 and verse 12 in Hebrew. Wayakwakwa ath, latawab, wa'ath, rakawath, bun, akia, abram, waya lakwa, wahayawa, yashab, basadam. Verse 13, waya ba'a, hapoliat, wayagad, wa abram, haibaria, wa'a, shakan, ba'alanya, mamara'a, ha'adamaria, akia, ashakal, Wa'akia, Einar, Wahum, Ba'alia, Barayath, Abram. Verse 14. Wayashamai, Abram, Kaya, Nashaba, Akiawa, Wayarak, Ath, Hanaya, Kayawa, Yala Yadia, Bayathwa, Shamnath, Aishar, Washalash, Ma'awath, Waya Radak, Waya Radak, Id, done, or Dan, done. Verse 15. Waya Kalak, Aliyahum, La Yala, Hawa'a, Iwabadiawa, Waya Kum, Waya Radapum, Aid, Kawaba, Ashar, Masha Ma'al, Masha Ma'ala, or Masha Mal. Not sure. Masha Ma'al. Lada Mashak. Verse 16. Wayashab, Ath, Kal, Harakash, Wagum, Ath, Lawat, Akiawa, Warakashwa, Hashayab, Wagum, Ath, Hanashim, Wa'ath, Ha'aim. Verse 17. Wayataza'ah, Malak, Sadum, Lakwara Athwa, Akaria, Shawabwa, Maha Kawath, Ath, Kada Rala Imar, Wa'ath, Hamalakium, Ashar, Athwa, Al, Imak, Shawa, Hawa'a, Imak, Hamalak. Verse 18, this should be the last one. Wamalakia, Tazadak, Malak, Shalom, Hawataza Yawa, Lakam, Wayayun, Waha Wa'a, Kahun, La'al, Aliyah 1. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 14 and verse 12 in English. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped, and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, the brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. Verse 14. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants born in his own house, 318, and pursued them unto Dan. So here you see Abram, his brother was a serious brother. So don't y'all ever believe in these images, of these brothers being weak and soft, man. Every brother that I read about in these scriptures is a warrior. Every last one of them. Every last one of them. From Abraham, Moses to Christ. They were warriors, man. You understand? And this is what we need to understand against what Christianity teaches our people, that these soft men walking around trying to love everybody. That is utter nonsense, man. This is World War I, man. 1A. The whole Middle East is at war, man. The Elamites is in there, the Africans, everybody in there fighting for a spot. You understand? This ain't no fairy tale. This is a live book. Verse 15, and they divided himself against them, and he and his servants by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus. So he split his army up and they attacked that night and took names, man. You understand? This is who we are related to. This is our ancestor. You understand? Verse 16. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought back again his brother Lot and his goods, and the women also, and the people. So all the people that they had taken captive, they were brought back. The women, the men, everybody. You understand? It was a complete rout, I should say. They routed these other nations, man. They caught them off guard with only 300 men. 318 men? Something like that. Verse 17. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedor Omor, and of the kings that were with him at the valley of Shaveh, which is the king's dale. Verse 18. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. You understand? Okay. Well, Malak Tazadak. Malak Tazadak. Okay. Okay, so this is the book of Genesis, chapter 14 and verse 12. And he took Lot, Abram's brother, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods. And there came one. Okay, we read that already. Khan, sir. In the Hebrew. The water, sir. Because 18 was the last one. Salakia, sir. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 14 and verse 19 in the Hebrew. Waya barakathwa, waya amar, barawak, abram, la'al, aliyawan, kwana, shamyam, wa aratazar. Verse 20. Waba rawaka al aliyawan ashar magun tazarayaka bayadaka waya thun lawa ma'ashar makal. Verse 21. Waya amar malak Saddam al Abram Thun Laya Hanapash Waha Rakash Kwak Laka. Verse 22. Waya Amar Abram al Malak Saddam Harayamathia Yadya al Yahweh al Aliyawan Kwana Shamyam wa Aratazar. Verse 23. Makawat wa Aid Sharawan Na'al wa Akwak, Makau, Ashar, Laka, Wala'a, Amar, Anya, Ha'ai, Sharathia, Ath, Abram. Verse 24. Balaidia, Rock, Ashar, Akolibor, Hanaarium, Wakalak, Anashium, Ashar, Halakwa, Athia, Einar, Ashakal, Wamara'ah, Hum, Yaquakwa, Thalakwam. One more. Prior chapter. This is the book of Genesis chapter 15 and verse 1 in the Hebrew. This is the last one. Akar, Hadaborium, Ha'Allah, Haya, Dabar, Yahweh al Abraham, Bamakzah, La Amor al Thayara'ah, Abram, Anakia, Magun, Laka, Shakaraka, Harabah, Ma'ad. This is the book of Genesis chapter 14 and verse 19 in the English. And he blessed him and said, blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. So this is Melchizedek blessing Abraham. So Melchizedek, because he's doing the blessing, he is of higher rank, because it's the higher rank man who blesses the lower rank man in our custom and in the truth. Verse 20, and he blessed, and blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thine hand, and he gave him tithes of all. So this is the beginning of tithing right here. Verse 21, and the king of Sodom said unto Abram, give me the persons and take the goods to thyself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up mine hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth. Verse 23, that I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latchet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abram rich.
Right, Abram, you know what I'm saying? He like, listen, I don't even want nothing you got, because, you know, I ain't man, I ain't about to take this stuff for you to be like, you know, I made him prosperous, I made him rich. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Abraham was a cold brother. You know what I'm saying? Cold, he like, man, I don't need nothing you got. He trying to cut a deal with him. He like, just give me the people, you take the goods, because, you know, this is war. So, you know, once you win battle, you know, the spoils of war are what, you know, are yours. But these people are from, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah. So, you know, their king is like, well, he says, cut me a deal. You know what I'm saying? You give me the people, right? And I let you keep the goods. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, really, the only reason Abraham is there is what? He trying to save his brother. He trying to save Lot. He didn't want none of this anyway. He didn't want to be a part of this war. You know what I mean? Read on.
He was trying to handle his business.
Right. You know what I mean?
Kidnapped his nephew.
Yeah, that's it.
Stole all his goods.
Yeah.
You understand? Verse 24. Save only that which the young men have eaten.
He said, do what?
Save only that which the young men have eaten.
Right, read on.
And the portion of the men that which went with thee.
You understand? Because these men done sacrifice and put their lives on the line, man. They don't went to war. He didn't think about himself at all. He's a real brother. You know what I'm saying? He like, man, these men done sacrifice. They don't went to war. Just you know, count me for what they've already eaten. Count that portion. Count me, you know what I'm saying, what they gonna need to just to get by, man. You know what I'm saying? Them men tired and went to war. You know what I'm saying? Of course, probably lost a few brothers. You know what I'm saying? He like, that's all I need. We're just gonna take is exactly what we need, nothing more. You know what I mean?
For the top. Save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion.
Right.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 15 and verse 1 in the English. And these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, fear not, Abram, I am thy shield, and thy exceeding great reward. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 15 and verse 2 in the Hebrew. Waya Amar Abram Adunya Yahweh Ma Thun Laya Wa Anansia Hawa Laka Ariya Ria Laban Mashak Bayathia Hawa'a Damashak Alia Izar.
And Salaki, you know what I'm saying? Well, when Yanazar had brought out as far as, you know, the beginning of ties, and also, you know, we are priests, you know what I'm saying? The reason why all the other tribes are able to be priests is because of the order, you know what I'm saying, of Melchizedek, right? You know what I'm saying? You can find that in it's Hebrews the seventh chapter. You know what I'm saying? You go to that chapter, you can read about that, let you know why, you know what I'm saying, why we are now priests under the order of Melchizedek, because at one point in time, only the Levites were allowed to be the priests. You understand?
Mm-hmm. And this is proof right here, because Melchizedek, in fact, was Christ.
Right.
And this and what the Sadducees and Pharisees didn't understand was that Christ's priesthood was established before the Levitical priesthood. You understand? And therefore was more authoritative. You understand? And he tried to explain it to them, but they didn't want to understand. And that's why if you read Hebrews chapter 7, it explains the whole thing, because Abraham paid tithes to Melchizedek. You understand? And the Most High made a covenant with Abram or Abraham, who became Abraham later. You understand what I'm saying? So that gives the order of Melchizedek, because the priesthood of the Levites, it didn't work. So they went back to the original priesthood that did work and reestablished it, so that the whole nation, as it was from the beginning, would be a nation of priests, man. Right. That was the intent of the Most High. He made the Levites the priests because the Levites stood with Moses. So that was their reward for standing with Moses when the other tribes came against Moses. But it did not deliver. The Sadducees and the Pharisees was mostly Levites, man. They was the priesthood of the time of Christ. And they went against Christ, and they didn't believe who he was to their destruction, if I may, sir. Salaki. This is the book of Genesis chapter 15 and verse 3. Waya Amar Abram Hun Layala Ah Nafatha Zarai Wahana Bun Bayathaya Yararash Akia. Verse 4. Wahana the bar Yahweh Aliyawa La Amar La A Yaya Rashaka Za Kaya Ashar Yataza Mama Ayaka Hawa Yaya Rashaka. And verse 5. Waya Wataza Athwa Haka Wataza Waya Amar Habat Na'a Hashamya Wasapar Hakwa Kabium Fawakal Lasapar Athum Waya Amar Lawa Ka Yahaya Zaraika. Verse 6. Waha Amar Waha Amun Ba Yahweh Waya Kashaba, Waya Kashaba, Tazadaka, verse 7. Waya Amar, Aliyawa, Anya, Yahweh, Ashar, Hawa Taza Afthiaka, Ma'awar, Kashadium, Lathath, Laka'ath, Ha'aratazar, Haza'ah, Lara Shatha. 8 is the last one. Waya Amar, Adunya, Yahweh, Bama, Adai, Kaya, Ayarashana. Okay. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 15, and verse 2 in the English. And Abram said, God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus. And Abram said, verse 3, Salakia, verse 3. And Abram said, behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and to one born in my house is mine heir. So meaning he didn't have any offspring, so people that's not his family is going to inherit all of his goods, you know? And he thought to himself that, hey, that's not correct. You know what I'm saying? I've been a righteous brother. You understand? Verse 3. Salakia, verse 4. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. Verse 5. And he brought him forth abroad and said, now look toward heaven and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, so shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. Verse 7. And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees to give thee this land to inherit it. In verse 8. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? How am I going to know if I inherit this land? This is the book of Genesis, chapter 15 and verse 9 in the Hebrew. Waya Amar Aliyawa, Kwaka, Laya, Ainala, Igala, Salakia, Mashalash, Malashath, Wa Isa, Mashalashath, Wa Ayal, Mashallah, Wa Thar, Waga was all. Verse 10. Wayakwak lawa ath kal hala wayabathar athum bathawaka wayathun ayash batharwa lakwarath Ra'aihawa wa'ath hatazapar la'a bathar. Verse 11. Wayarad ha'ayat al hapagorium wayashab atham abram. Verse 12. Wahaya Hashamash La Bawa'a Lafa Radama Napala Al Abram Wahaga Ayama Hashaka Gadala Napalath Aliyawa. Verse 13. Wayamar la Abram Yadai the Salakia the Dai Kaya Gar Yahaya Zaraika Ba'aratazar Lahum wa I Badwum wa I Badawum or I Badwum wa I Nawa Athum Arabai Ma'awath Shana. Verse 14. Wagum Ath Hagawaya Ashar Ya Ibadwa Dun Anuncia wa Akaria Kun Ya Tazaawa Barakash got a wall. Verse 15. Wa'ath Habawa'a Al Habathiaka Bashala Wum Hakwabor Bashiaba Tawaba. Okay, this is the book of Genesis, chapter 15 and verse 9 in English. And he said unto him, take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a sheep goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, verse 10, Salakia, and he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. Verse 13. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not there, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. Verse 14. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. Verse 15. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age.
So we can clip it up right there. That's the last set of 7. You know what I'm saying? That's the last set of 7. So next week we'll pick up Genesis chapter 15 and verse 16. You know what I'm saying? Keep going into it. Keep bringing out this history. You know what I'm saying? Keep bringing out this truth, man. Keep bringing out this truth like we always do in our ISUPK, and showing our people who we really are according to the Bible and where we come from, man. And just how much of a mighty and, you know, great people we've always been. You understand? And how we have to get back to our culture, get back to our identity, so the world can, you know, respect us for who we are, man. So we can get back our reputation of being God's chosen people, of being the mightiest nation on the earth. You understand? But with that, you know what I'm saying? Up here, it's going to say Amadium. Then there is a girl thyself to pass the Torah.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah Brakayah.
Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah Brakayah.
So Amadium, means stand. Wapanyah Kudum, means rise and face east. Close out with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew.
Abanawa.
Abanawa.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Shabbat Shemayim.
Kodash.
Kodash.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Shemka.
Shemka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Malakwaka.
Malakwaka.
Taba'ah.
Taba'ah.
Atazayaka.
Zayaka.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Ba'arataza.
Ba'arataza.
Kuwa.
Kawa.
Hayah.
Hayah.
Bashemayim.
Bashemayim.
Nathanawa.
Lathanawa.
Lakam.
Lakam.
Cow.
Cow.
Yawum.
Yawam.
Wasalaknawa.
Wasalaknawa.
Kabawafnawa.
Kabawatnawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kasalaknawa.
Kabawafyanawa.
Kabawathinawa.
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah.
Tabiyayanawa.
Tabi'ayinawa.
Vanasaya 1.
Vanasaya 1.
A ball.
A ball.
Hawashayanawa.
Hawashayinawa.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Rai.
Rai.
Kaya.
Kaya.
Laka.
Laka.
Hamalakwath.
Hamalakwa.
Waha'ala.
Waha'ala.
Wahafaparis.
Wahatapara.
Wa'iwalamyam.
La'aiwalunium.
Amen.
Amen. In the English, our Father,
Our Father,
which art in heaven,
which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done
Thy will be done
in earth
in earth
as it is in
as
heaven.
it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily
our
bread,
daily bread,
and forgive us our debts
and forgive us our debts
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not
And lead us not
into temptation,
into temptation,
but deliver us
but deliver us
from evil.
from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom
and the power,
and the power
and the glory,
and the glory
forever.
forever.
So be it.
So be it.
The prayer for the power, the Hakak in the Hebrew. Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Bahashem Yahweh Shai.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah,
Baba Kashah.
Baba Kashah,
Nathan Lenawa.
Lathanawa,
Hakak.
Hakak,
Hakak.
Hakak,
La Para'ah.
La Pa'ah,
Cow Makala.
Kal Makala,
Wakal Madawa.
Kal Manawa,
Hakak.
Hakak,
La Tahar.
Latahar,
Ha. Matazarayim.
Hamatazarayim,
Hakak.
Hakak,
La Hakwim.
Lahakwim,
Hamathium.
Hamathium,
Hakak.
Hakak,
Al Rarakawath.
Arakawa,
Hatama Allah.
Hatama Allah,
Lagarashan.
Lagarashan,
Bahashem Yahweh Shai.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah,
The water Amun.
the water Aman. In the English, Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh Shah,
in the name of Yahweh Shai,
please
please
give us the power,
give us
the power to heal
the power to heal
all manner of
all
sickness
manner of sickness
and all manner of
and all manner of disease.
the power to cleanse the lepers,
The power to cleanse the leper,
the power to raise the dead,
the power to raise the dead,
the power against unclean
the
spirits,
power against unclean
to
spirits,
cast them out.
to cast them out
In the name of Yahweh Shah,
in the name of Yahweh Shai.
thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
This is the prayer for the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatha Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shai.
Why Yahweh Shah?
Wa Mayaka Allah.
Why Mayaka Allah?
Wa Alahayam.
Why Alahayim?
Matazaba Ya'ah.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Alawap Yahana.
Alawap Yahana.
Alawapium.
Alawapyim.
Hasaranyam.
Hasaranyim.
Hakotazayanyam.
Hakatazayayim.
Hakoya Yoyum.
Hakoyayoyim.
Wahaquatian.
Wahagwathian.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Bahashem Yahweh Shai.
Shim Yahweh Shah.
The water Amun.
The water Aman. In the English, bless you Yahweh
Bless you, Yahweh,
and Yahweh Shah
and Yahweh Shai,
and Michael
and Michael,
and the angels,
and the angels,
commanding General Yohana,
commanding General Yohana,
the generals,
the generals,
the captains,
captains,
the officers,
the
the troopers,
the troopers,
and the sisters.
and the sisters.
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
in the name of Yahweh Shah,
in the name of Yahweh Shai.
thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
The 121st Psalm in the Hebrew. Aisha'ah.
Aisha,
Ayanya.
Ayanya,
Al-Haharian.
Al-Haharyim,
Ma'ayan.
Mayan,
Yawa'ah.
Yaba'ah,
Isaiah.
Isariah,
Isaiah.
Isariah,
Ma'aim.
Ma'aim,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Aisha.
Aisha,
Shamayim.
Shamayam,
Wa'aratazah.
Wa'arataza,
Al-Yathun.
Al-Yathan,
Lamawat.
Lamawat,
Regalka.
Wagalka,
Al-Yanawam.
Ayanawam,
Shamarka.
Shamarka,
Anala'ah.
Anala'ah,
Yanawam.
Yanawam,
Wala'ah.
Wala'ah,
Yayashun.
Yayashan,
Shawamor.
Sharamor,
Yasha'Allah.
Yasha'Allah,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Shamarka.
Shamarka,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Tazalka.
Tazalka,
Al-Yad.
Aliyah,
Yamyaka.
Yamyaka,
Yawamam.
Yawamam,
Hashamash.
Hashamash,
La'ah.
La'ah,
Yakaka.
Yakaka,
Wayarak.
Wayara,
Walayala.
Balayala,
Yahweh.
Yahweh,
Yashamarka.
Yashamarka,
Makalrai.
Makarai,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Afnapashka,
Afnapashka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yashamar,
Yashamar,
Tazaadka,
Tazaaka,
Wabawaadka,
Wabawaaka,
Maatha,
Ma'atha,
Wa'id Iwalam.
Ayid Awalam. In English, I will lift up mine eyes into the hills,
I will lift up mine eyes into the hills.
from whence cometh my help.
From which cometh my help.
My help cometh from the Lord,
My help cometh from the Lord,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Israel
he that keepeth Israel
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy keeper.
The Lord is thy
The
shade
Lord is thy shade
upon thy right hand.
upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
The Lord shall preserve thee from all
The
evil.
Lord shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
The Lord shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in,
and thy coming in
from this time forth
from this time forward
and even forevermore.
and even forever.
The 83rd Psalm in the Hebrew. Alahayim,
Alahayim,
Al Damayalaka,
Al Damayalaka,
Al Fashakwat, Al Mislakia, Al Fakarash,
Al Thakarash,
wa Al Fashakwat,
wa Al Dashakwat,
Al
Al
Kayahana,
Kayahana,
Awayabyaka,
Awayabyaka,
Yahama,
Yahama,
Yawan,
Yawan,
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash,
Al Imaka,
Al Imaka,
Yairayamwa,
Ya'arayam,
Sawada,
Sawada,
Wayatha,
Wayatha,
Yaitazawa, Al
Ya'aytazawa,
Tazapawanyaka,
Al Tazapawanya,
Amarwa,
Amar,
Lakawa,
Lakawa,
Wanakakidam,
Wanakaki,
Magoria,
Magoya,
Wala'a,
Wala'a,
Yazakar,
Yazakar,
Sham Yasha'ala,
Sham Yasha'al,
Iwada,
Iwada,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Nawa Aitazawa,
Nawa Aytazawa,
Laba,
Laba,
Yakadwa,
Yakadwa,
Aliaka,
Alyaka,
Barayath,
Barayath,
Yakarathwa,
Yakarathwa,
Aholia,
Aholia,
Alawam,
Adawam,
Wayashamai,
Uyashamai,
Alayam,
Alayam,
Mawa'aba,
Mawa'aba,
Wahagarium,
Wahagarium,
Gabal,
Gabal,
I'm a one,
Waima one,
I'm a lock,
Waima Lak,
Palashaf,
Alashah,
I'm Yashabia,
I'm Yashabia,
Tazawar,
Tazawar,
Gam Ashawar,
Gam Ashawar,
Nalawa,
Nalawa,
Imam,
Imam,
Hayawa,
Hayawa,
Zarawai,
Zarawai,
Labanya Lawat,
Labanya Lawa,
Salah,
Salah,
Aishalaham,
Aishalaham,
Kamadin,
Kamajin,
Kasaya,
Kasaya,
Sara'ah,
Sara'ah,
Kayabian,
Kayabian,
Banakal,
Banakal,
Kwayashwan,
Kwayashwan,
Nashamadwa,
Nashamadwa,
Ba'ayan,
Bayan,
Da'ara,
Da'ara,
Hayawa,
Hayawa,
Daman,
Daman,
La Adama,
La'adama,
Shayatamwa,
Sayatamwa,
Nadayamawa,
Nadayab Mawa,
Kayarab,
Kayarab,
Wakazaba,
Kazabak,
Wakazabak,
Kazabak,
Wakatazal,
Katazal,
Manai,
Manai,
Kal Nasayakamwa,
Kauna Sayakam,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Amarwa,
Amor,
Nayarasha,
Nayarasha,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Af,
Ah,
Na'awaf,
Na'awa,
Alahayam,
Alahayam,
Alahaya,
Alahaya,
Shayatamwa,
Shayatamwa,
Kagogela,
Kagogala,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
Lapanyarawaka,
Lapanyarawaka,
Kaash,
Kaash,
Tabiaira,
Tabayaira,
Yaira,
Yaira,
Wakalahaba,
Kalahaba,
Dalahat,
Talahan,
Harayamwa,
Arayam,
Khan,
Khan,
Zaradapma,
Daradap,
Basa Irika,
Basa Arab,
Wabasa,
Wabasa,
Wapafka,
Wapatka,
Tabahalam,
Tabahalam,
Mala'ah,
Mala'ah,
Panyaham,
Panyaham,
Kuala One,
Kwalan One,
Wayabakwashwa,
Wayabakwashwa,
Shemka,
Shemka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Yabashwa,
Yabashwa,
Panyaham, so Yabashwa, Wayabaholwa,
Wayabaholwa,
Ai,
Yai,
Wayakaparwa,
Wayacaparwa,
Wayabadwa,
Wayabadwa,
Wayadayawa,
Wayadayawa,
Kayatha,
Kayatha,
Shemka,
Shemka,
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
Labadka,
the Badka,
Al Yawan,
Al Yawan,
Al Kalha Arataza,
Al Kaharataza. In the English, keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace,
Hold not thy peace,
and be not still,
and be not still,
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh.
For lo,
For lo,
thine enemies make a tumult,
thy enemies make a tumult,
and they that hate
and
thee
they that hate thee
have lifted up the head.
have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty
They
counsel
have taken crafty counsel
against thy people,
against thy people,
and consulted
and
against
consulted against
thy hidden ones.
thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come
Come,
and let us cut them off
and let us cut them off
from being a nation,
from being a nation,
that the name of Israel
that the name of Israel
may be no more
may
remembrance.
be no more in remembrance.
For they have consulted together
For they have consulted together
with one consent.
one consent.
They are confederate against
They
thee.
are confederate against
the
thee.
tabernacles of Edom,
The tabernacles of Edom
and the
and
Ishmaelites
the Ishmaelites
of Moab,
of Moab
and the
and the
Hagarenes,
Hagarenes,
Gabal,
Gabal
and Ammon,
and Ammon
and Amalek,
and Amalek
the
and
Philistines,
the Philistines
with the inhabitants of
the
Tyre.
inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur
Assur
also is joined with them.
joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah,
Salah,
do unto them
do unto them
as unto the Midianites,
as unto the Midianites,
as to Sisera,
as to Sisera,
as to Jabin,
as to Jabin,
at the brook of
at
Kison,
the brook of Kison,
which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the
They
earth.
became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles
Make their nobles
like Oreb
like Oreb
and like Zeeb.
and like Zeeb.
Yea,
Yea,
all their princes,
all their princes,
as Abah
as Abba,
and as Almunah,
and as Almunah,
who said,
who said,
let us take to
"Let us
ourselves
take to ourselves
the houses of Yahweh in possession.
the houses of Yahweh into possession.
O my power,
Oh, my power,
make them like a wheel,
make them like a wheel,
as the stumble before the wind,
as the stubble before the wind,
as the fire burneth a wood,
as the fire burneth a wood,
and as a flame
and as the flame
setteth the mountains on fire.
setteth the mountains on fire.
So persecute them
So persecute them
with thy
with
tempest,
thy tempest,
make them
and
afraid
make them afraid
with thy
with
storm,
thy storm.
fill their faces with
Fill
shame,
their faces with shame,
they may seek thy
that
name.
they may seek thy name.
O
O
Yahweh,
Yahweh,
let them be confounded
let them be confounded
and troubled
and
forever.
troubled forever.
Yea,
Yea,
let them be put to
let
shame
them be put to shame
and perish, that men may know
that men may know
that thou,
that thou,
whose name alone
whose name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most
the
high
most high
over all the earth.
of all the earth.
So,
Men of Israel, we give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Imagine Shabbat, Imagine Barak, Yahweh Bashim, Howard Shah, Barakatah, Yajabatah, class dismissed.
Can be. You know the motherfucking well, I know protocol said that we don't go out when the real field is what, above 95.
Hey, don't worry about that, man. We'll go when we die. You pass out, that's when we gotta go home.
No. That's not the way it goes.
Yeah, man.
Hey, that's the sound of a young warrior right there, bro.